Those are items on the calendar that were approved unanimously in committees. So just give me a minute for two.
Madam Chair, may I address you, the minority leader and the legislators, just briefly about a meeting that I had with Ms. Maraday and Commissioner Braisley. In regards to some of the things she discussed.
You're going to take the 3-minute limit?
Less than that.
Okay,
Madam
good.
Chair.
Go ahead.
Less than that. And in particular, I want to legislative Bayonne. I'm sorry.
Legislative Bynum.
Sorry about that, Sheila. I know. We had lunch recently at Jonathan's with Ms. Maraday. Ms. Maraday, I just want you to, I'm just going to give a little quick report on our meeting, okay? With Commissioner Braisley. We had a great meeting. Ms. Maraday came to understand the depths and all the hard work that's involved with the Office of Minority Affairs, and they have really only 2 staff people working there at this particular point in time. And she's one of the things that was I wanted you to know was that the commissioner is working on, which is not presently in the Office of Minority Affairs, a procedures manuals that will hopefully be helpful to for many years to come for that particular department. Commissioner Braisley also had the opportunity to learn about all the work and knowledge that Ms. Maraday has, especially in regards to her organization that's involved with helping the service-disabled veterans, that is. Ms. Maraday wants the department, the Minority Affairs, to be more proactive in a sense that not only to try to get contracts to minorities and service-disabled, but she would also like us to see the county go out and find and help the service-disabled veterans grow their own business or create their own businesses. So she would like to see the department be more proactive. But the purpose of the meeting and the lunch was basically for Ms. Maraday to have a direct line to the commissioner, and they got to know each other, and especially Ms. Maraday's many tremendous knowledge of her organization of helping the service-disabled veterans. And so the one thing that I did want the legislators to know on a final note, that Mr. Cleary, our procurement officer, is working closely now with Commissioner Braisley. There was many things when she came on board that she had to take care of that were critically important, but she's now working closely with Mr. Cleary, and they are for the first time within recent months. They're posting now the procurement information for the service-disabled veterans. So that's a great step for the county and for and Mr. Cleary working with Commissioner Braisley. So I'm hoping that in the near future they will meet again and continue to build better communications between Ms. Maraday and Commissioner Braisley to take advantage of any situation, especially that will help the service-disabled. I hope I adequately reflected our meeting.
Okay, you did a good job.
Yes, and I do want to also thank Mr. Becker for initiating that meeting, and it was very informative. But I do want to support Legislator Bino's request because her legislation speaks to building a true infrastructure. And secondly, the legislation that Legislator Laura Curran put on the table 2 years ago outlines what is most important: putting together a directory, doing the actual outreach, as well as the planning, the training, and tracking the actual input for service-disabled and veteran-owned businesses. If you don't have the matrix, if you don't have the benchmarks, again, you're just blowing smoke.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your time, Madam Chair and legislators.
guess what? There seems to be a lot of unanimity on most of this calendar, with the exception of one item which is, needs to be brought to the floor. But I'm gonna call all those consent items, and before I told you that the consent items are usually those items that went through committee without unanimously, and so they become unanimous here at the full list. So I'm going to call the items, all right, and I'm going to, I know there are people here who thought they were going to speak on the item as far as the administration is concerned, but guess what? I don't think so. I'm going to begin with item 1, ordinance 115, item 2, ordinance 116, item 3, ordinance 117, item 4, ordinance 118, item 5, ordinance 119, item 6, ordinance 120, item 7, ordinance 121, item 8, ordinance 122, item 9, ordinance 123, item 10, ordinance 124, item 11, ordinance 125, item 12, ordinance 126, item 13, ordinance 127, item 14, item ordinance 128, item 15, resolution 172, item 17, resolution 174, item 18, resolution 175, item 23, resolution, I'm sorry, hold on, I just hit the page, hold on. Item 19, resolution 176, item 20, resolution 177, item 21, resolution 178, item 22, resolution 179, item 23, resolution 180, item 25, resolution 182, item 26, resolution 183, item 27, resolution 184, item 28, resolution 185, item 29, resolution 186. Okay, all right, motion please.
Hold on, Norma, hold on, that was just.
What happened?
Norma, I'm sorry, can you pull out 172?
Hold on, 172.
It's a number.
Hold on, what number is it, what ID number?
Can you pull out resolution 172, 2017, 348-17? Legislative law just has a recusal.
Oh,
That one.
okay, all right, okay. All right, so are you going to recuse yourself? Legislative law? Okay.
Just on that matter.
I'm going to have to call that one separately, so now for the others that were called, with the exception now of item 15, resolution 172, motion please moved by legislator Wells, second by legislator Nicolau. All right, any questions, any comments, any public comment? There being none, all those in favor of the items that were called, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
You ask for public comment.
Okay. Meredith, come on, let's do it.
You got it.
Let's go. Meredith, you're on one of these items, I hope.
Couple.
Huh?
A couple.
One of the cards, one of the items.
Okay, cool.
I need the number, please.
I'm getting ready to give it to you. 17, 18.
Mayor, could you just turn?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Meeting Mayor, you guys just have press the red button. Thank you.
You're still going to have 3 minutes, Meredith.
Gotcha. 17, oh, Rita Meredith, for the record, 17, 18, 19, 20, 23, 24. Okay. 17, question which is with regard to the amount as it pertains to this contract and what it actually pertained to, what the overall project was with regard to the relationship district attorney, Jack and Jill. Number 18, question again as it was brought up earlier with regard to the lack of attention to the Uniondale community. Just again, this intermunicipal agreement with the Village of Freeport, because it is an incorporated village of Freeport. And secondarily, I just want to know as far as who is the contractor involved, what was the vetting process, and again, where is the inclusion in terms of minority, women, service-disabled, veteran-owned businesses. Again, this should be a matter of public record, and this is information that residents and constituents that, as I said earlier, are leaving here in droves because they can't afford to live here need to know. And I'm sure residents in areas such as Westbury, where they have been trying to get additional community policing, and Uniondale, where they're just trying to get some sense of decency in their neighborhood, would have questions. 19, authorizing the county executive to execute the intermunicipal agreement with the town of Hempstead, providing a vehicle seized to the town for what? For what purpose? Again, as I mentioned earlier, we have issues of lack of transportation and support services for our veterans to get to places such as the medical center to get this assistance in the food and clothing. So again, where was the decision-making process? Why was this, the town specifically designated? Why weren't community organizations possibly considered for that, who are actually doing work out of their own pockets? The town gets enough money as it pertains to their own budget. Maybe they could dig into the $4 million that they use on fruitless advertising to better support the needs of their residents, including myself. 20, again, resolution authorizing county executive to execute intermunicipal agreement, Hicksville Fire Department, in relation to obtaining a fire prevention trailer. Why just Hicksville? Again, we have a number of fire departments that could possibly utilize this type of trailer, and just in terms of getting that out there. So I ran out of time, but that's pretty much what I had as far as those issues. Unless somebody wanted to
If I may
answer a
respond.
question.
Ms. Meredith, if I could respond to your questions.
Yes.
I think from our standpoint, and I can only speak for the 7 folks on this side, we have submitted countless, I would say, if not 24, maybe more, intermunicipal agreements, CRPs like you're talking about today, that have not been counted. The majority has said that they will not count them because of the position that we have in regards to the independent inspector general, to fight corruption, or whatever the issue may be. I'm not sure what the issue may be. But they have not counted our items for quite some time. We understand that whether it's Hicksville or Lynbrook or wherever, that they deserve their taxpayer dollars to work for them. But for whatever reason, projects that are in districts solely, in the 7 members on this side, we have not seen our items. We have faced our constituents countless times, over and over again, who are asking for their projects to be counted.
You're right, and as you know, your constituents are here.
Yes,
Your
absolutely.
constituents are here.
Yes. So from that standpoint, we cannot understand why our IMAs, our CRPs have not been counted. They're just sitting in the clerk's office now for months, if not years.
And this is the opportunity, this is the public sector of this scenario. Folks don't have any problem showing up at community events, particularly during an election season, to talk about all that you're doing to represent our interests. But when the public is sitting here expressing our concerns, it is not only disingenuous, it's disrespectful to have to keep coming here and just sitting here and looking at blank faces with no accountability, no answers to the questions. Where does our money not count? Does the value of the money from the residents from this side of the room, does the Kool-Aid taste better on this side of the room versus that side of the room? We're all losing our homes signaling together.
Meredith, you had your 3 minutes.
I did, but I'm saying what I'm putting.
Yes, you did have your 3 minutes.
You did, but the
plus.
last two items
No,
that I wanted
you
to
don't,
talk about.
Meredith, I'm sorry.
Okay,
All
I'll
right,
be back.
thank you very much.
Ms. Meredith,
Hold on.
hold on, Ms.
No,
Meredith, Ms. Meredith.
No, you need it.
Let's just be fair, because Mrs. Meredith asked me very pointed questions,
Absolutely.
which I provided information in regards to these IMAs, these CRPs.
Right, and why, and guess why?
Because to our constituents, Madam Design Officer, and this is what Ms. Meredith is talking about, to the constituents that sit on this side, they believe that their elected officials are not getting these CRPs done, and they're asking why. They're
Okay.
asking why is it only going to certain
The answer is not
areas?
coming from you only. It's also going to come from my fellow legislator, Richard Nicolò. He would like to respond to what your comment was.
Well,
And that's it.
but-
It's only a
but-
If you ask me questions, you say you don't understand what I want to hear.
Rich,
Hold on.
before legislator Nicolò responds, I want confirmation that you have confirmation, meaning you, Madam Presiding Officer, because you're the one that calls the calendar, not Deputy Presiding Officer Nicolò. You have confirmation that we have CRP, IMA applications, which we've worked with the liaison from the County Executive's Office, Brand Becker, sitting right there, who we processed through them, who have been calendared, and they're at your discretion to call them at this meeting. So I want to hear from you, is something wrong with our information, or something wrong with the way we're submitting them? Because for some reason, for the last year, you have not called them. They've sat in the clerk's office, idle, waiting for consideration. So that's what the bigger question is. Is there something wrong with our IMAs on why you're not calling?
This is just,
This
no,
is-
this is just a game.
Rich, that's not a question.
No,
You
this is
said
a
the question.
game.
That's
No,
This is a
I
game
can
that you're
answer
playing.
that question.
Rich,
No,
that's not a question
this is not
for
a
you.
game,
Well,
because
hold
lives
on.
are being impacted here.
That's it, Mary, you had your day in court.
Oh, look,
No, I did
look.
not have to be in court. Now, we want to talk court. That's a whole different
Okay,
issue.
fine.
This is public
You know,
comment.
It's just a friend, okay?
In all fairness to the Deputy Presiding Officer,
He has the right to
In all
talk.
due
in all
respect
fairness,
to the rest
no,
of the
in all
board.
fairness, Deputy Presiding Officer, that is not a question for Mr. Nicolò. That's a
Doesn't matter,
question
it's
to.
a game that you're
No,
playing. We've been through this
Rich,
time and
Rich,
time
Rich.
again. You know exactly what the issue is. So
Okay.
why are you asking the presiding
No,
officer,
no, I can
we
answer
had
the
this
question.
debate over and over again. You know exactly what we are
And it
doing.
has nothing to do with the
You don't-
Inspector General, it has everything
It
to do
cannot-
with the bond ordinances that you
This is
refuse
free.
to give us the
But-
votes
but
for.
again,
I'm sorry.
Madam
It's a
Presiding
quid pro
Officer,
quo. I'm
you're
sorry.
then you're
That's it.
misinformed
No,
because
it's not.
no, you
I'm
are
not
because
misinformed.
Madam Presiding- and look, and I heard Mrs. Harris talk about how we look, and I totally sympathize with the way we look, and I'm trying really hard not to give that image again. But Ms. Babson, you are misinformed if you are saying tied to bond items, because these CRPs are not coming from current bond money. This money was bonded years ago. These taxpayers paid for it years ago. The bond item for the Uniondale Streetscape Plan came from a bond from 2013. You're misinformed. I just want to make sure that-
We don't have, at this particular time, okay? There is no further public comment. I may sound like a dictator, but I'm telling
Well,
you
isn't
right
this
now.
public comment?
Moving on.
Can I respond?
Legislator Nicolò has a
Yes.
response for Mr.
We
Minority
have
Leader.
had-
That's
Can I
it.
speak?
No.
We've
I
had-
cannot
Public
speak.
comment is over.
It's over, because
Yes.
you deem it's over? Because you
Yes.
you don't want to talk about
Yes,
this
yes,
blatant
yes.
racism that goes on in Africa.
Minority Leader has raised some questions.
You don't want to
We
speak
are
about
allowed
the
to
blatant
respond.
racism that goes on in Nassau County.
You are not going to shout us down.
I
We're
went
allowed to
to East
respond.
Meadow on Front Street, they have a
You
huge
are
sign that
not
says
going to shout
Welcome to
us
East
down.
Meadow.
It doesn't
You
work
go to
that way.
Uniontown has a small sign.
You are not gonna
They
shout
got
us
two
down. We
signs
heard
on
you
Front
before.
Street, that's ridiculous.
Public comment is
We
now
don't live
over.
in a ghetto.
Thank
We
you.
want to
Thank you.
live with somewhere that
It
is
is
nice, just
over.
like East Meadow.
Let me just respond to the
I'm
Minority Leader because
not
we've gone
responding
through
to
this.
you.
We've gone through this
The
over
officer
and over
has
and over
politely
again.
asked you to take your seats, okay? Public comment is now over. You're not going to get anywhere by being obstinate, okay? Excuse me, Legislator Nicolò, please.
We've gone through this over and over again. You know exactly what the issue is. There's no question of not understanding. There's no question of needing to clarify. We are not going to pass along your CRPs while you are holding up
Because
90,
you're racist, you don't
while
want
you are holding up
Uniontown to go further
$90
with the
million
commercial.
of public works. You cannot expect us to approve projects specific to your district when you are stopping projects throughout this entire county. It's irrational. You can make that argument all you want. It makes no sense. Your projects are not going to move until you allow the business of this county to go forward. The sewer projects, the road projects, in every one of our districts. We are not going to vote for your projects. They're not going to move forward. You take your position, and these are the consequences that go with it. As soon as we do the business of this county, as soon as we pass this bonding, which benefits every part of the county, then the CFPs go back and move forward as they have in the past. But until that happens, don't expect your projects to go forward when you're holding up $90 million worth of
So Rich,
projects for political reasons.
explain to me and the public how, I believe that this money's coming from previously bonded money, which is where we're talking about. How are your projects going forward if there's no bonding in place? Explain that. You said that we're not playing ball, or whatever the paraphrase you want to use, but I count here hundreds of thousands of dollars of your projects going through. So if you're telling, over 2 million, so you're telling the taxpayers there's no money because we can't do the people's business, but there's money for us though, if you sit on the right side of the aisle, or the left side if you're on the audience.
That's called a deflection.
No, not a deflection. You're doing
respond?
Rich, you're doing your projects.
Because you don't want to hear the answer, because you know the answer is.
Tell me the answer, Rich.
Because I'm not saying that I'm not saying that all borrowing in the county has completely stopped. I'm saying there's $90 million of public works projects going down, including sewage treatment projects that are of vital necessity, that you've held up, projects in every one of our districts, and now you're gonna say, well, never mind that, move our projects along. It doesn't work that way.
No, Rich.
It doesn't work that way. You hold up the people's business, it's going to affect your districts.
Let's say to the point, so basically this is payback. That's what it is.
No, it's what you should expect when you hold up the people's business in this county.
So tell me, Rich, because maybe I'm just not that smart, but explain to me, you're saying there's no bonding, we haven't bonded, which is not true. The legislature bonded in October to the tune of $60 million, but you're saying that there's no bonding, and there's no bonding for Democratic district projects. That's basically what you're saying, because there's four Republican district projects that are on the calendar today, which are about to be approved. So where's this magical money coming from?
Look, it's smarter than that.
No, Rich,
You know what I'm saying.
Rich, explain to these folks where the money's coming from.
I never said that every bit of borrowing in this county to go forward. I said specifically, $98 million of capital borrowing, you've stopped.
No, we just did
every
60.
one of those
There was
projects.
60 that was 60 done past this legislature.
Okay, that's it.
Is there not $90 million of borrowing that you will not vote for?
So you're saying we need to do all of it to make sure that we get a few $100,000 for our respective districts? Is that what you're implying?
I'm saying that you have to let the businesses in this county go forward, but you stop it for political reasons, and the political reasons are okay, but they're gonna affect your own district.
But you know what,
Okay.
Rich? The business in your respective districts has not been stopped.
Okay.
It still goes.
Sure, there's roads. There's roads in my district that haven't been,
Rich,
that haven't
do we
been
need to
done.
go, I don't want to
There's
go.
traffic lights I can't get in front of schools.
Let's go through each of the IMAs. You tell me what district they're in. You want to go through that exercise? Because we don't have to.
Let's go through the
You guys know
capital
what the
plan.
truth is. You know the reality.
Let's go through the capital plan. There's roads in my
And
district
you know what
that
it
have not
is?
been plowed.
You know what it is, too? You know what it is? We believe, Madam Plan Officer, give me 1 second. If you're a taxpayer from wherever you are in this county, you have a right to see your tax dollars work on behalf of your community.
Exactly right.
And for whatever reason, you guys keep hanging your hat on the fact of the bonding. You can't, the reason why you have no ground to stand on is because this money was bonded in previous plans. It was negotiated with the county executive and presiding officer Gonzalez, and it's already been done. So you're trying to use that to formulate current bonding. You know and I know your projects are not being paid for out of current bonding. They're not paid for out of the $60 million that we did before. It's being paid for, and I think Ms. Jacobs said it, it's being paid for out of 2012 bonded money.
It's a distinction without a difference. The roads are still not being paved. The sewage treatment projects are still on hold.
If we bonded $60 million in October, tell me why the roads are not being paid.
Are you not holding up $90 million in the capital plan? Are you not? Yes or no? And are you not holding up the capital plan? $90 million? No? All right, let's put the, can we put the item, wait. Can we put those items on today? Those $90 million for projects?
You haven't used the 60
You said
million.
you're not holding up. We put it on today. We'll vote for it today.
You haven't used the 60 million.
Let's stay here all day. You said you'll vote for it. We'll take your vote.
Rich,
We'll take your
what
vote.
we're trying to tell you is that this is not an endless well.
We just did one other vote.
Rich, we gave you $60 million. We bonded.
We already said, Rich, you'll vote for this.
Listen to Rich, listen. Rich,
One other vote.
we bonded $60 million already.
Folks, we're almost there. We'll get the capital plan approved and your project goes too. Come on. $90 million, let's do it today.
Rich,
We'll stay here until we get it done, let's do it.
Let's sit here.
No, who else is good?
And let's talk, and at the same time, can we talk about the corruption in this county, or that's too sore of a topic?
Okay, look, we're not
Can
going
we
to
talk about the corruption in the county as well?
You want to start talking?
Don't go there. Don't go there.
You want to start talking about different
Let's talk about it. Let's
Don't
talk about it. Can we talk about that as well?
go there.
As long as we're talking stuff about, let's bring it all up.
We're going to start talking about
Well,
personnel.
so we don't get crazy about this. Have you spent the 60 million that we bonded in October?
Okay, I'm calling for a recess. I said, I'm calling for a recess, but before I do, I'm going to ask, there's a motion on the floor for those items, and I think we should take that motion and take a vote on those items. All those in favor of the items that I called with the exception of 15, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, once again, it's unanimous, and if you're not calmed down, are you calmed down?
I can't wait to vote on it till after the recess.
No, we have a motion on the floor, I can't do that. There's a motion and you all voted it on these items in committee. What else do you want to do? Okay? I'm good, fine, don't vote on anything else today. All right, in the meantime, you all voted on these items in committee. And so let's go. All those in favor of the items that were called in the consent calendar, with the exception of 15, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay? This is unanimous. Do you want?
I just asked,
Call for recess?
no, let's just make it clear. I'm gonna call and ask for again that you start to calendar the items that are sitting in the clerk's office because they were bonded with previously bonded money, have nothing to do with the stalemate in the county that's currently existing, and you put those items on because the taxpayers deserve it in the respective districts.
You have to. All right, now, I'll be in recess. I can motion to recess. All right, okay, please. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.